Hi, sir. Good evening.
Hi, guys. Good evening. Hey, Lakshmi. Good morning. Hi,
sir.
Lasya. Hi, Vamsi. Hey.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Sir,
Good
Good
evening.
morning.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good morning to you. Yeah. Let's wait for this to join. Hey, Bhaskar. I think Chakravarti will join a little. Uday does have some emergencies, so he couldn't join. He told me. As the rest should be joining. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Bhaskar.
Yeah, hi sir, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very good sir.
Guys, I had some pain. I don't know. Today it started. It's been okay, but this evening, mild pain it started. I don't know. Probably I need to visit the dentist tomorrow. It's not totally healed. I need to put the cap as well.
Sir, your voice
Hello,
is breaking.
Rajati, can you hear me? Is it only okay? Just
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah, I could see your network is red mark.
hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Guess there is a packet drop on the network. I have to rejoin. Yeah. Okay. So I think who lost? Whom did we lose? Why Chakravarti, Uday, okay, others, I don't know, very less time today. That's fine. Arun got dropped. Let him join back. I think Rajati as well dropped. Were you also dropped when I rejoined? You were
No,
still
sir.
connected, right?
No, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes sir, we are there.
Okay, thanks. I think, yeah, we'll get started in the interest of time. Let others can join, but only thing is I might need to admit them. That's a setup that we have because I'm the only host. That's fine. So last class, what did we see? Day 9. We'll begin with that as well. Yeah. Can somebody quickly summarize what did we see on the last class, day 9?
We discussed regarding packages to and
Okay. That's right, Lasya. Go ahead. Others? Is that all? Anything else?
yeah,
Sir,
constructors, types of constructors.
Okay.
mainly we discussed about hash code and two-string methods. And regarding the import methods, what are the default import methods, and what are the things that we need to include when we are using scanner and those things.
Got it.
In the last, we concluded with the abstract collection, which has the implementation printing each element of a collection using the for each loop method.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Lakshmi. That precisely sums up. And we also discussed a little detailed about toString method as well. Hash code and toString of object class. That's when we got into the packages as well, right? What are the default packages in Java? Hi, Rajati, can you hear us? Hello.
I'm able to, Raghavan. Thanks.
Okay. Can you please introduce yourself to the group? I think today is very less strength. Typically 10, 12 people used to join. Probably a gentle introduction will help. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm Rajati Murukishan, and I have a prior experience with Java, but I have a long gap from my career, so I'm just looking forward to join back. So I felt like joining other sessions would help me to refresh my knowledge and also to gain, and also would help me to gain some extra topics as well.
Okay, thanks, Rajati. Currently, where are you located?
I just traveled to New Jersey because of my husband's deputation 2 to 3 days back.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, good.
So,
Because we do have one
I'm
person from
currently
USA.
in New Jersey, but
NJ.
previously was in India. So, like I
Nice.
was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm just looking forward to rejoin. So
Sure.
that's why I
Thank
started learning.
No, that helps. Thank you. So we do have one person, Lakshmi from USA. Not sure, Lakshmi, which stature later, right? At your local
So
time zone.
New Jersey is 1 hour ahead of us, sir.
Okay, where are you, Lakshmi? State?
In Texas, sir. Texas.
Texas. Okay, got it. All right, so you guys can catch up probably, something else if you want to catch up on what previous classes, anything you can be of help to each other. So welcome
Yes,
to the
sir.
group, Rajati, right? Wish you good
Yeah,
luck.
thank you.
So,
Thank you.
and this is something, we are talking for the past 2 weeks to have, we also had some live quizzes, right? And also some sessions we have been giving to the intent of helping the people to reshape their knowledge, to reskill and get back on track. We do a little deep dive on certain topics. We don't simply rush it up. There are a few people who are totally freshers as well, right? So that said, okay, we have been talking. The last topic what we discussed is on the classes. I think let me share my screen as well. Right, I think my net is a bit unstable. I don't know why. This tool every time the activity sketch, it's not able to. Just give me a minute. I think the door is locked. The internet is not. The signal is not that very. Whenever I travel to native, there is a struggle. It is still not able to. Put that. This tool is there's a license check every time I start and stop, so it's not really taking. Let's see. Otherwise, I might need to change the location. I connected from a phone network. Okay. So the last class, what we have seen, we looked at toString method, a deep dive, and also we have looked at the packages. We have also seen that by default there is an object class that is getting extended, right, as a two different classes. Just a sample class and sample class extends objects. And if when we do this, Java just a and if you there is no difference at all. Yes, the compiled version of the source code doesn't have any difference. We have seen this as well. And then we have looked at in detail about the constructors. Constructors again helpful for us to initialize an object when we begin with it, right? During the time of instantiation, we want to pass in some initial data that we want to supply, right? So that is what the purpose of a constructor, where we could pass in the initial values which we want the object to carry by the time it is created in memory. And we have also seen that constructors can be overloaded. Constructors is a special method which does not, this bears the same name of a method and doesn't have any return type, not even void. And constructors can take parameters, that is called as parameterized constructor or an overloaded constructor. And we could have as many versions of overloaded constructors as possible to have a different flavor of the inputs that we want to pass. We have seen the examples also, right? So one other thing what I wanted to tell you is something called default constructor. So we have also seen that on the other day, student Java. This is the default constructor, meaning one that doesn't take any parameters. So there is something, what is the specialities? Even the class doesn't have a constructor. It is given by the Java compiler when the class gets compiled. That's what exactly you see here. On the other day, I couldn't cover that. Let me go back and create a directory data. Probably I'll add the date as well better. Instead of just day 9, I would say day 9 and 2.
Sir, I
Okay.
think you're on. Okay.
Yeah. Is it better? Student sample class. Okay, let's take this itself. Let's do the have. Do I have any constructor in this class? In the source code, if you look at it, does it have any constructor? Guys, am I
No,
audible?
sir.
Yeah. So this class doesn't have any constructor, but when I compile this, right? And you see here, both the classes does have one constructor. This is a constructor, you all agree, right? How do you say it's a constructor?
It will not. It will be with the same name of class and no return type.
Right. And there is a method here, parenthesis, empty parenthesis, and it doesn't have an argument. So it's a constructor because it's a method bearing the same name of the class. And it is a default constructor because it doesn't have an argument. So that's it. A constructor by default will be supplied by the compiler when you compile the class. But so this is what it is all about. Yes or no? We have a default constructor supplied. Correct?
Yes, sir.
But there is a rule to that. Will it be always supplied?
No, if we have like a custom constructor, default will be disabled.
Yes. So what have we seen? Constructor is a special method that has the same name of the class. Constructor can take a different access specifiers. What are those? Public, private, right? Constructor can be overloaded with a different set of parameters. Constructor used for what? You
Initialize or
initialize an object of the class with the predefined data or to initial data, right? In that case, they are called as what? Parameterized or overloaded constructors. We'll see that as well. A default constructor is the one that does not take any parameters and it is supplied by the Java compiler when the class doesn't have any declared. Is it fine? What is the example we have seen? Sample class. We don't even have a constructor declared, but when the class gets compiled, let's look at that, right? Let's say I have a student.java here or person.java. Let's make it here. I don't know why my name got corrupted. I say public class person. Backbone class. I don't have anything. When I compile it here, I think I should better increase this, right? When I see Java P -c person, I do have a constructor by default created with 3 lines. Tell me what exactly does it mean? Can anybody tell me this? What is happening in this line? So we have a class compiled from person.java, and this is public class person, the syntax of the class. It doesn't have any line because the class is empty. And by default, the compiler supplies only the default constructor that we are very sure that public person, there is a default constructor starting. And this is the code, and it's a line 0, 1, 4, they have a numbering, load and invoke special. Whenever you see invoke special, that means it's calling a method. #1 number first line of the statement and return. By default, it returns it. Return nothing basically. And what you see here, the method being invoked is Java lang object. What does that mean? Java.lang.object, but it's a package. Where do you see the Java.lang.object class? What is the specialty we have seen?
It will be extended by default for all the classes which we.
Exactly. Java.lang pack. Correct. Java.lang is a default package, and the object is a default super class of all the objects. Yes or no? All the classes basically. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So by default, the first line should be calling the super class, parental class. So java.lang.object, and that's constructor, whatever it is that is getting called. That's what this method says. Init is an initializer. Whenever you say in a constructor, it is calling java.lang.object, right? This object class we have. Let's go to object class. Do I have a constructor? You see here? Yes or no? Public object, empty braces. What do you call this as? What do you call this as?
Default constructor with no implementation.
Very good. Empty default constructor. That's correct, Lakshmi. When you say default constructor, you indicate two things. It is public and the same name, no parameters. That's what you say default constructor. And the very exact good word that you added is empty constructor. Why we say empty constructor? Why we say empty constructor?
But not
Because no
initializing any
implementation.
characters.
Value is not initialized.
It does not. Yes, there is no executable statement at all. What Java tells you can have an abstract person class, you can have class, yes or no? You can have a class. So predict or assume my subclass and what data I'll initialize.
Sir, the network is like
Whether or not
voice, sir, properly.
you okay, give me a minute, maybe I'll change my location. Just give me a minute, 1 minute.
Yes, sir, yes.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Good now.
Is it better? Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. So what I was telling you is by default, object class also has a default constructor, which has just public name of the class and doesn't take any arguments because object is very generic. What way Java will assume that the kind of object that you would be creating? If you say student, you will have name, age, etc. Right? If you take a customer, you will have a name, gender, Aadhaar card, PAN card, what unique number, SSN, etc. Right? Depends on the country where you live in. If you take a vehicle, you say model, color, weight, registration number, yes or no, for an object that you create class, right? So it cannot predict what kind of object you will be creating. So it's kept as very generic and simple. And there is no, it's also an empty constructor, we say, because it doesn't have any executable line. Yes or no? That is what is getting called here. And ideally, because there is no statement available, we don't really get to see anything in the output. But you please understand that a superclass constructor is getting called. When you look at inheritance, probably if you take a look at it, obviously the very first call to the constructor, what we should make is either super or this. This is a way to call an overloaded constructor of the same class. Or if you say super, that's a keyword wherein you call the parent class constructor. So that's how you should do. That should be the very first statement. If at all you have this, meaning have it, they should be the first statement. They cannot be placed anywhere else, like second or third statement. Let's take a look at it now as well on this. Is it clear? That's a default constructor when you have. Any questions on this?
No, sir.
Right. So let me say, okay, maybe I'll change this person.java. I'll say person empty class.java. I'll just change it this way, right? Java C person empty.java. Okay, I need to change this class. Okay, we have this. It doesn't have anything. Now I'm gonna change it to person.java. What do we see here? What attributes we can have it for person? String. Let's say first name and last name to keep it, right? Then probably we can take private int age, probably private char gender. Make sense? Just to begin with, to a person attribute. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now public person. What am I doing? There is a question. Is it the default constructor? Sorry, I think I wrote it wrong last time as well. Or it's a question. Make sense? You understand what I'm saying? Is the question clear?
Yes, sir. I think
Yes, sir.
second option is correct. It is
It is overridden
overridden.
default constructor.
Why? Correct. Because we take responsibility only when you don't have one. Yes or no? Answer is, what do we do? It is the overridden. Overridden means we are overwriting. You can look at it, right? Default constructor as the default construct is supplied by the Java compiler when only when a class does not have a constructor. Yes or no? Let's assume I print it as system.out.println person constructor in Rajati. We do have a YouTube channel, and my own channel, where every day's classes, whatever we have taken, is getting uploaded. So I'll share the link as well in
I had
the.
a chance to look into the group,
Sure. Okay.
so I have an
Got
idea.
it. Please make use of them. Refer to those videos as well. I have given the detailed description also in the videos. Feel free to refer to them and let me know if at all you have any questions
Yeah,
where I can help
sure.
you. You can post it in the group as well. People can
Okay.
help you, and also you can let me know. Any of us will try our best, right?
Okay, sure.
Now I share this present.java. Now let me do this. JavaP is a disassembler utility like Java C. -C is to give a class. What is a compiled class? So I'm compiling this statement. I'm compiling the Java program source code using Java C. In that case, what do I get? I get person.class. A .class file gets generated. So Java P is again yet another utility executable provided along with a JDK bundle using -C, meaning it's a disassembler. The compiled code we get to see like this, like a machine code we can get to see, right? I say person, but we should not do the person.class. It is a class that we get to see, not the file. Now you see, is there a difference that you see between the previous version and this version? That's why I've taken a backup as well, right? Do you see any difference?
Yes, sir. The size of the code is different.
Very good. Is that anything else? Is that all? That's a good observation, Bhaskar. Anything else?
Sir, I feel like
In the person constructor is invoked, and the default constructor there is no that declaration or anything like that.
Okay, in front of you there are lines, guys. We have one line, system out println, right? In this default constructor, we have added a system out println, right? Do you see anything else here? The commented lines? No, right?
no.
This is one line of statement that we have added. That's what you get to see here. System out gets static. They're getting the static objects. System class out is a static object, which indeed refers to print stream. I'll also show you that. Java.lang.system. All right. If you look at it, yeah, this is a stream print stream. Likewise, out is a static member of system class. It's referring to actually print stream. That is what it refers if get static, where it is trying to obtain a reference of a print stream Java IO through system.out variable in the Java line package. And then this is the actual string literal that we print. Yes or no? Person constructor invoked, right? That is getting printed. LDC is load constant. I've already told you in one of the earlier classes. It's a machine level assembly language instruction. LDC is an instruction given to the low level machine level language where we want the system to load a constant, which is this exactly what we gave in double quotes. Then invoke virtual. That's when I told you we invoke a method. What is a method we call system out? So this is invoke virtual. It is calling a method that is println. Where is system out println, right? Just a minute, guys. The println calling just a minute, guys. Java IO print stream is actually a reference of system Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, I got a call. I picked it up, so my mobile network got disconnected. Sorry, yeah. So what I was saying, system out println, that is what is getting invoked here if you look at it, right? Person constructed exactly the load constant, we are loading it, and we invoke virtual, we call println method of print stream. But how are we invoking that? The print stream is referred by what? System.out. So when you call system out println, which is indeed calling the println method of print stream class, and we pass the constant, and then it is returning. Is that clear? The constructor what we have. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, assuming I don't do anything, what I have done now?
Just commented the sys output.
All right. So let me recompile it. Now, do you see any state changes? Any changes? Okay, I'll open this as well. I want all of you to please pay attention and stay focused. There are differences. That's the reason I'm showing you all this, right? Do you see any difference in the output? Now, what did I do from the previous version of the program to this version of the program? What did I do?
So you compare showing a person empty class, not the person class.
I am showing that as well. I'm showing that as well, Lakshmi. Right?
Okay.
This is Java P person, this is Java P-C person empty class. So what did we do potentially from previous version of person.java to this version of person.java?
There we just wanted to see whether this constructor is getting called or not. So we just added the sys
No, we have
out.
not even invoked the constructor. We just placed the constructor and compiled it.
A previous version, I'm saying.
Yeah. So there again, Dhananjay, good try. There again, we did not really check whether the constructor is called or not. Because we are not instantiating any class, any object here. We just see whether the overridden default constructor is present in the compiled version or not. And that's what it happened, right? Now I still retain that overridden constructor, the default constructor that I have returned, and I've commented out this statement that prints a constant. Okay, is that right?
Yeah.
Then I'm compiling it. Once again, I recompile the source code and I take the version of it, disassembling the class file. So what changes do you see is what my question. Do you see any changes or you don't see at all? You don't make out between this and between this. Also between this and between that. This is one version, am I right? Yes or no? This is one version of the source code, correct, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is another version of the source code compiled, version 2. This is version 2. This is same one version, version 1. So what changes do you see is what my question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The same thing. Actually, in the previous system, since we have the written constructor, so we saw additional command to load it and print it. Here, I think since we have we are not doing anything inside it, maybe it's thinking of the default constructor.
See, guys, there's nothing great here. In front of you, the changes are displayed. In this class, it just says person, public person, and there is no statement code at all because it's an empty constructor. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
When you have placed a constructor, it takes as what it is. Whereas, is this a default constructor or user supplied a default constructor or overridden default constructor?
It is overridden default constructor.
Understood, right? We are overriding means what? we are taking the control and we say the compiler that, hey, look, I will be in charge of this constructor. Whatever needs to be written, I'll take the responsibility. I'll bear the responsibility. So it doesn't do anything on its own. It just prints as what it is, because there are no executable statements. Are the comments getting considered?
No.
So it just prints a blank instructor. That's it. Whereas, what about this? Is this an empty default constructor or no? Or overridden default?
It is default constructor.
So default constructor, not overridden.
So that is why it calls class, it makes a call to java.lang.objects init, because it is supplied by the compiler. Here, who supplied this?
User.
Yes. Okay. Yes or no? This is version 2. Are you all with me or anybody is lost?
Yes, sir, we are with you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Next thing, take a look at this. Now a new keyword we are doing, right? What am I doing?
New keyword, super.
To invoke the super class. What is a super class? What exactly is a super class?
Object.
Yeah, we have seen it
Object
earlier as well, right? What is it we have seen earlier? What is it we have seen earlier?
Object class is super class of all classes.
Java.lang.object being the super class of all the classes in the Java ecosystem, even if the class does not use the extends keyword. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So,
Now what I'm doing? It's just a super is a keyword, and you call, what is that? Super is a keyword. Super, this means what? Super is a keyword indicating a parent class, right?
Yes. It will invoke the parent.
And
Here in this case, it
what will
will call the parent constructor. I think.
what constructor? Parent.
Default one.
Correct.
Parent class
Super with empty parenthesis means correct. The default or no arg constructor of the parent class. Yes or no? Yes or no?
yes, sir.
Yes.
So we are calling this now. Now let's see. Java C %.java. Is there a change between the constructors that we have now?
Yeah.
You all know what we perform.
Yes.
What
So in,
change?
so in whatever the constructor we supplied, since we have added the super, it will try to invoke the parent constructor, which is object one.
Yeah.
So that's what we
Is
are
there
printing this one.
Very good. Is there a change between these two versions? Maybe that's what I should have made it explicit between this and this.
No, sir. It's
No,
same.
right?
No.
Exact lines of code as well. Yes or no?
Yes, sir,
Yes.
same.
So do you agree with me the fact that if you do not place a constructor like this, where is that? If you don't place a constructor like this, by default, there is one supplied by the compiler. This is what we see in empty class. And that is called a default constructor because it doesn't take any arguments and it does only invoke the superclass constructor. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear.
So this is a detailed explanation and with a justification that we do have a constructor supplied. We do have a constructor supplied from the compiler by default. The class doesn't have one. Make sense? But does it supply a default constructor when you have one constructor? Even if it's a no arg, you already overwritten. So it doesn't, right? Now let me do person with one arg. Java. Okay. Let me change it. You understand what I'm doing, right?
Yes, sir.
What I'm gonna do, assuming that I don't have it. What is this? Let's take another one. Now I'm not even gonna have this. Let me remove A2 32 24 DD, right? Public person. I just want to give a name alone. Okay, first name, string last name. What am I doing now? That's all. Yes or no? And here what we'll do? First name equal to first name. This dot last name equal to last name. Yes or no? If you want it as a proof, you can add the system out println person, first name, last name, invoked constructor. If you want it, you can add it. Any questions? Any questions? Oh, my bad. Okay, sorry. Because constructor takes the same name, right?
Yes.
All right, let's take that. Any questions on this so far? Now, what do you see? Okay, if you want, I can comment this if it is confusing, but it's okay. What do you see from the class? Is it clear? I have one constructor. And what do you see the methods?
Parameterized constructor is only there. There is no default constructor at all.
Exactly. That's a good observation. Just when you have one constructor placed, that's it. The compiler will decide that the user is well aware. He or she will know how to manage the instantiation of the class object default constructor at all. Whether or not you have a overridden default constructor or you have a overridden constructor, doesn't matter. As this is just a simple rule. If the class does have a constructor supplied by the user, yes, then I don't need to provide. Does the class have any constructor? When the answer is no, then I'm supposed to provide a constructor. That's the only simple rule the compiler follows. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
We can have default constructor and we can have two arguments constructor and three. Anything can be possible, right, sir?
You can have. Let me just give me a minute. I'll show that. Yes, there's nothing wrong. Let me also add this. You understand? Because I give a meaningful name, I had to give a different name here. Yes or no? This is a
Sir,
default.
method
Method,
braces.
parenthesis.
Yeah, thanks, Bhaskar. Right. Bhaskar or Dhananjay? Thank you.
Yep.
Good. Now, I do what? I've just added the default constructor. Now, do you see this? This is different flavor. Can somebody spot out the difference?
When the object is created, then only the compiler can know which constructor to be called, whether it is default or parameter.
That is okay. That is okay. I'm only asking about the difference in the disassembled code that I'm showing. Can somebody spot the difference? If you have been keenly observing, closely following, listening, and completely looking at my screen and listening to what I've been explaining, you should be able to spot out the difference that you see in the current version of the compiled class that we have disassembled now.
Sir, in
Okay,
default
what do you see?
code 014 and the argument constructor also there is same code 014.
That's okay. That's fine. Okay, but that doesn't really signify. But you have indirectly given the answer, but not making it explicit. Do you see the difference in this and this? Obviously, there is a difference. There are two differences. First difference is how many constructors do you see in the class? Earlier it was one
two.
because only one constructor. Now how many constructors we have in the source code?
Two.
How many constructors we see in the disassembled class? Two, correct? That's an obvious difference. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then do you see anything different from here? What is my default constructor looking like? Overridden default constructor looking like? Empty constructor, correct? Do I have any executable statement?
No, sir.
No.
Earlier also we had an empty constructor, correct? The person class. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Here also we had an empty constructor. What was my disassembled code looking like? Did it have any line?
No.
You're all agreeing? When you have only one constructor supplied, that's a default constructor on your own. You make it overridden. The constructor thinks you are aware of everything. You don't need to, it doesn't need to add anything in between. So it just blindly prints. Whereas in this flavor, I do maintain the same default overridden constructor, empty constructor, but the constructor adds one line. What is this? Object.init. Because this is an additional specialized constructor that you have. This is again Java's call. It adds this statement. Earlier it did not add. That's the other difference. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now let's go. Person test class, can we write? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Public class. Why we write test person? Why don't you write the main method in the same class? Guys,
Single responsibility principle.
very good, Dhananjay, exactly. Which I've already discussed. I don't know, man, why, what's wrong? This is not good at all.
Maybe you need to log into browser for this sketch wow.
No, automatically it does it from
Okay.
here itself.
Okay.
All it needs is a stable internet connection. That's why I shifted my place as well. I don't know, surprising. So here we use this. What can we do first? Person P1 equal to new person. Can I do that? Yes or no?
Yes,
The
sir.
simplest version of it. Java C test person.java. It gave Java P hyphen test person. What do you have here? Pay attention. What is my test class looking like? What is my test class looking like? I only have a main method, correct? But that's also a class. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is the main method you see, Java lang string, where args. And here new, what are you doing? You are instantiating a new object. Which class? Person class, correct? Dupe, it's a dupe, I think it's a opcode, operation code. Invoke special. When you see the method operation code, invoke special means what? It is invoking a method. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And person dot, what it is calling as? Init. When you see init means what? It is calling which method? Initializing. Which method is helping to initialize an object?
Constructor.
Constructor. And does it take any argument?
No.
Empty parenthesis. So that's what we call it. Yes or no? Then a store one. What is it? A store one. This reference is stored. Then get static. You know, system out. We are calling getting the static reference. A load one. We are loading that value. P1. That's a loading value. Then invoke dynamic. This is again make contact with constants. It is calling. Then print stream invoke virtual and return. Do you see that? But do you see one more thing here? Why it is?
The default constructor.
Why?
Because
Default constructor
Java
from here.
internally it will give the default constructor.
Correct, but why it gives? The answer is very simple. Why it supplies? LKG level answer.
It makes sure that whatever the variable you have added in the class, it has some data inside that. If you
Nah,
have
nah. Dhananjay, you don't need to go to PhD level. My question is very simple. Why you see a default constructor added in this class test?
Maybe like
we are doing new
user
person,
forgot
right?
to give a
Person,
constructor.
we have added the person constructor there while
Boss,
adding
there is
new.
nothing, no relation with the new at all. New you are calling person. Now we
No.
are checking test person. There are only two answers to this question that I asked. Let me see who's going to answer.
See, each class having a Java will give a default constructor, right?
Very good. So test person itself is a Java class. That's the first answer. Correct?
Actually, we have many
It's a
answers, but I don't know which one.
That's okay. You
the
go with simple.
context.
Best
Yeah.
simple answers always will be accepted. Because it is a class. Is that all? Just because it is a class, the compiler will supply. What if it's an interface? That's the reason I'm telling you that. This is a class, right? Non-abstract class. So it gives a constructor. Make sense? Abstract class also can have a different story, right? It's a non-abstract class, right? Probably a class. And it does not have a constructor on its own. Only then the compiler will supply a default constructor. Yes or no? That's the answer. Yes?
Yes.
And we see this. Now let's do one more thing. What if, okay, instead of this, person with one org constructor. Oh, we call two orgs, is it? Even though we say, but you're calling two orgs, isn't it?
Yes, sir. First name and last name.
My bad. Okay. It should be two org constructor. Let's change it. No problem. All right, we get the same thing, right? Now I go to test a person. I don't know, something went wrong another day. I press some key. Person with yes or no? Can I do this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Who has joined today? New candidate, Rajati. Should I take Prabhu? That was your surname, is it Rajati? The other name, what do you have? Probably after marriage, your name changed, if I'm not wrong. So I would take that name. You're all clear what I'm doing now, right? What I'm doing now, guys? Guys, what am I doing? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible. Like you are
Yeah.
creating
Creating
instantiating
new
two
objects.
objects.
Two objects, very good. What are they? How are they differing, Bhaskar? Thank you. Yeah, how are they differing?
Yeah, one with
In
the
terms of
which
parameters,
is calling
Very
the
good.
one is different default
Good,
and the other parameterized.
very good, Lasya. One is a default, no arguments, other is with arguments, right? And I compiled this. Did I compile it or not? Okay, I don't see the change here. Why? Because I haven't because I haven't compiled the class.
Compiled.
Now I do. Okay, do you see that now the main method is expanded? Yes or no? The main method has become longer. But what do we see here? The main difference, I want you to notice it here. This line, invoke special, line number 4. You see this here and you see this here. What changed? I've already explained for the previous program. What is the change? Here also init method,
Arguments added.
no arguments. Here init with the 2 arguments. You understand? This is how the compiler will understand which version of the method that you are calling, be it a constructor or a different method, right? Clear, guys? Constructor overloading. I think that's pretty much it. Makes sense? And when you run it, obviously, you get the output. There's no difference at all. Person with the 2 constructor we added, first name, last name invoked, and this is person with the 2 constructor. Just we are printing it 2 different objects. That's all. Any questions so far on this?
No, sir.
And you see here, what is the argument that we pass? LDC, it's a load constant. What is the first argument when you are invoking?
Rajati.
What we supplied, Rajati. Second argument,
Prabhu.
even that compiled version will carry the literal string that you passed in the source code. That's the proof here. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? So that is all about with the constructor. To the best of my knowledge, I think I have given in detail. So any questions that anybody has got on what we have discussed or anything else on this? Default constructor when we create an object. Yes. Okay. So I assume there are no questions.
Sir,
We'll
does
go ahead to the next
interfaces
topic.
also have constructors? The interfaces and abstract classes.
No, abstract class can have interface, that cannot have, because interface specifies a contract. Interface just simply specifies a behavior. That's all. It's not a class. Class is a template, as what we have been discussing. It's a template, right? And it does not that will have a constructor for an object when it is created, a default constructor. But interface is more like a plug and play behavior which you can attach it to a class. Clear?
Okay.
At
Yes, sir.
runtime, you say runnable, walkable, something like that, right? So the class can have this behavior, you attach it. So it's not a interface is not a class. So it doesn't have a constructor. We can see that as well. So let's see my interface. Let's say talkable. Yes or no? Is it clear? What is talkable? What do you mean by talkable? I think everybody is taking the silent oath, is it? People don't determined not to respond, or I have to until I ask 3-4 times, is it?
No, sir, we don't
Right.
have correct meaning about talkable.
Talkable, just a simple statement. Walkable, runnable, like that.
The one which can talk.
Exactly. That's about it. Like runnable, it's talkable. It's an interface, it's a behavior. So I did have a source code, and does it have any executable statement, or it's an empty class, empty unit?
Empty.
So when I disassemble the code, do you see anything here?
It's also empty.
Yeah, makes sense. Now
Yes, sir.
I create a class like this, public class person talkable. Just I'm giving it here. So interface is the behavior, and what we do, this is how we attach. What do we do? We attach a behavior to a class. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Implements that there is a person can talk. Yes or no? Any object of a person is talkable. Talkative is different. Talkable is an ability to talk, right? If I have flyable, do we feel like attaching that to a person? Until otherwise they are angels or mermaids, something like that. In general, by default, can we attach the flyable interface as a behavior to a person class?
No.
You get the meaning, right? So I compile this now. Java C, Java P-C person talkable. What do you see here? It just says talkable, that's all. Talkable is a separate class on its own. And you get the default constructor because you haven't supplied. That is all with respect to the class. That's it. And this is an interface by itself, and it doesn't. We don't have a behavior. If you have a behavior, then it give an error and all. Interface fundamentals, I hope you're all clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's assume we have a method, public void talk. You just have one method. When I do Java C person talkable, what have we done now so far?
We created an interface which is talkable, that is a behavior, and we created a class called person talkable, which extends the talkable interface. That is, we created like a behavior attached to the class. And whenever the interface is attached to a class, we need to implement the unimplemented methods of the interface.
Correct. Exactly, that's what is happening. I do have a method and I'm not implementing it. So it says person talkable is not abstract. What do you mean by abstract? One, it doesn't have a specific shape. It is very generic. When you say person, right? Now, how many participants are there in the class, including myself?
10.
10. If I simply say participant, do you really get to identify anybody in person in particular?
No,
No.
Why?
we have different identifiers.
Okay, what do you get when I use the word participant?
Anybody can refer, right? So
it's a generic term. That's correct. It's a very generic term indicating a group of people, right? Now I say male participant. I have one more level. Do you get a clue? Do you see the participant list now, right? Are you able to see this participant list that I'm sharing?
No, sir, we
No,
can't
sir.
see the chart.
You can't see, but okay. I don't know, maybe some settings, but you have this. And I say male participant. Still, do you have anything?
No.
Why?
In male participants also, there are a lot of people.
Many people. Exactly. Same goes with when I say female participant. You understand, right? It represents a very generic context of a class or object. So that is abstract. Why? In that case, you don't need to give a specific shape to them until like what I said, java.lang.object. The default constructor cannot have any statement because it cannot predict or assume what kind of object that you are going to create and what kind of properties you will be dealing with it and what data type each property can hold. Can we make a guess? Can be used for a banking industry, telecom industry, automobile industry, healthcare industry, academic industry, etc. Any industry for that matter, right? So abstract is something which does not want to make a definition. So here there are two things you could do. One, you have an interface has got the implementation method. So there are two flavors. What do we do now? Either you make this as abstract. When you do that, there is a keyword. What is that?
Abstract.
Indicating the compiler that the class is not taking any responsibility to define the methods of the interfaces it implements. One more thing, class can implement multiple interfaces. Only it can extend one class maximum, but it can implement many interfaces, right? Let's go here. Let's say runnable or eatable. Can I add this? Obviously.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir, we can add.
You have this. Now I go person talkable at Java, for example. I can add this as well. You understand? The behaviors are getting attached to the class by using implement schema. Now I say, okay, let me add this. Okay, I've added that as well. What I have done now? Now I made 2 changes in the class. What are those?
We can implement any number of interfaces, and we have introduced an abstract keyword because we are not implementing any of them.
Right. And there is something wrong. The class should come later. Abstract should come next. Should come first, sorry. All right. We made 2 changes to the source code. One, we implemented one more interface and we made this as abstract. In that case, did it ever complain?
No.
So if you say that, it's already given a keyword hint, right? Either person taskable is not abstract and does not override the abstract method talk in talkable. Either you do this so that I don't pester you, I don't scold you saying that, hey, why are you not implementing the interface method? I would assume that somebody else will do it. Who is that somebody else?
One who extends that class.
Ones who extend the subclasses. You delegate that responsibility to the to whom?
The other class which extends the abstract class needs to implement all the interface methods.
Yes. All right. Now you see, it just have one default constructor and it says implement talkable eatable, right? When I go to eatable, I think I can have one more method as well. Public void eat. Whatever you want to give something to eat, right? Talk also, it's fine. Just a parameterized method. You need to give something to eat. For talk, simply people can talk without giving any subject also, right? Do you see that? There's an abstract being automatically added. Do I have anything? People who have read it, by default interface methods are called what? By default interface methods are called what?
A public abstract.
Abstract method, public as well. Why? When you say abstract, you don't want to give an implementation, you just declare it. Who will implement that?
Subclass.
The classes that implement it. Either the parent class or the parent class is declared as abstract, any number of classes. At least one class in the hierarchy. Class can be inherited by multiple levels. One class in the hierarchy should implement that method. Until then, if that case, the classes whichever is not implementing, they should be declared as abstract. Otherwise, the compiler is gonna comply. Right? This is what we see. By default, they are abstract. It's a proof, solid proof, right? Because it doesn't have a implementation, it's just a declaration. Now let's go here. Person talkable. Okay, it's not even talkable, right? Why? I should make it as what? I should make it as what? Person with behaviors, I say, because talkable, eatable, I can add anything. I'll make it as generic, as person with the behaviors, right? Or maybe what do I do? CP person talkable. Java. Person with the behaviors. Now I'll go person talkable Java. I would, okay, remove this and remove this as well. Just implements. Java C person talkable. Yeah, it will complain because we know that. Yes or no? What is my person talkable.java has got? Only one class, implements one method, but there is a method implemented there in the interface. And this class is neither declared as abstract to indicate the compiler that it is shifting away the responsibility to the subclasses, nor it takes a responsibility on its own to provide an implementation. So I would do either we make abstract or the different version, what do we say? Public void talk. Ideally, what we would have string name, and we would have probably what? We want to know who is talking, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Java C. Now, this doesn't compile at all. Why? I have given an implementation for this method talk that is declared in the interface, so the compiler is happy. And Lakshmi, as she rightly said, what if the interface has got 5 methods? Let's
We
assume.
need to implement all the 5 methods in the class.
Exactly. Let's assume I have 2 different methods. What is this? A method or a person who can talk anything. Yes or no? I just give a definition like this. Here, person to talk on the given topic. Correct? That's topic that we give. Yes or no? Guys, am I audible? Can somebody
Yes,
respond?
sir. Yes, yes, sir.
All right. So I had 2 different methods. One is talk, gentle talk, anything that he wants to talk on, anything. Other thing is I have a this is called method overloading. Same syntax, but they differ by parameters. Clear? Number of arguments, number and type of arguments. So this is another version where I'm giving a topic to a person. Say, especially go to a speech competition. Mostly how the speech competition is conducted.
Based on the topic, the speech
They
competition.
give you a topic on which you need to talk. So that's what we give it, right? Now, was I able to compile this class first? Talkable.java. I'm just compiling the interface first. You are right, Lakshmi. I go step by step, right? First of all, this is a separate unit by itself. It's also a dot class, Java source code, right? Am I able to compile this first? Am I able to compile this class first?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'm able to compile this with 2 different methods. Now I go here, Java C person talkable. Just I'll go with talkable itself. What does it say?
Saying that we need to override the methods or make the class as abstract.
Correct. Method is always constant. The rule is simple. A class, it implements an interface. Within that interface, how many methods are there? If the methods are all the methods are implemented in this class or not. If yes, okay, the class can be compiled. It also refers the signature is fine, matching and all that, right? The name is
Yes.
correct, parameters are matching, exactly. If not, even if one method is not properly implemented in the class, what is the rule book of a compiler says?
Please declare it as abstract or implement it.
Exactly. Boss, I'm still not happy with the declared definition of a class that you have, because you say that you are implementing an interface and that has got more than one method, but in your source code, I see that you have implemented only provided a definition of only one method. I don't see the other method present. So what you could do here, still, what you could do? Define as abstract. Yes. Now, did it complain?
No, sir.
Understood? Only the talk method is there you provided. Because you declared is an abstract class, You have declared it, made it as abstract, then the compiler does not complain at all. It goes happily with what you have provided. Any subset is fine. Assuming the implement interface has got 5 methods, you have implemented only one method. Does it gonna cry?
No,
Why?
because it is declared as abstract.
That's all. If you define it as declare the class as an abstract, you are free to skip the implementation of any or all methods. Do you need to give a method here?
If need, we
Do
can give,
you?
otherwise we can skip.
It's optional. Why? Because we made this as
Abstract.
that's all. That's the only thing help you to get escaped. Make sense? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Clear.
yes, yes.
Right. Now, let's go. I'm just slightly getting into object-oriented concepts as well. We have also seen overloading. What do you mean by overloading? In interface, we have seen we have one is polymorphism. What do you mean by that? Poly means many, morphism means forms. Morphing, we say, right? Taking one person and taking the shape of it by applying some gimmicks or cosmetic changes. So there is one version of the method, but you could let it take multiple forms or shapes by, there are two kinds of polymorphism. One is compile time polymorphism, other is runtime polymorphism. The compile time polymorphism is called as method overloading. Why it's a compile time polymorphism? Because during the compilation itself, it will understand which version of the method is to be called or invoked. That's why it's called compile time polymorphism, or also called as early binding. When the compiler compiles a class, it creates a binding association between the actual declaration of a method and definition invoking which method it should call. Like how we have seen here, right? I've shown you earlier when we had this constructor. You see that, right? I told you. Where is that? Init single no argument and init with the 2 arguments. Do you see that? Where it binds which particular version of the constructor is supposed to be called at this particular line. Do you see that? This is called binding. And this binding is taken place at the early stage. What is the early stage of a Java program? How many stages we have in Java program? My goodness. How many?
And other is running.
Sorry. What is that? Lakshmi?
We have 2 stages. One is compilation and other is execution.
Very good. So when you say early binding, that's the early stage is compiler. During the compilation itself, what am I doing? I'm doing javap minus C, the compiled version I'm disassembling. It takes the version of it. Which one I am calling? Make sense? Let me
Yes.
show you the demo. Person talkable, I go. Now what I'm doing now? Okay, here else already we have it. So what call does it make? Invoke dynamic get static talk method, right? Okay. Sorry. Let's do test person talkable, right? I prefer to have a separate class. Yes or no? Because of what?
Because it's have only one behavior, that is talkable.
Single responsibility principle, right? So person talkable P1 equal to new person talkable. Am I good enough to give this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
I'm creating a class and I call the method. It invokes a default constructor. I'm sure I get one. Why? Because it is a class and it doesn't have a constructor on its own. So the compiler will be supplying it. I'm good to create. This is how we are able to create a new object without any constructor on our own. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now I say p1.talk. Let me print this test person. Disassemble the class. Okay, did I not compile? Yeah. I'm compiling it. Why? What happened? There is a problem. What did you do? Okay. This is abstract. Why abstract? Where it finds abstract?
In person talkable, we declare it as abstract, sir.
Why we declared as abstract?
And we are
To
not
skip
declaring
the
Optional
definition of
implementation of the
others.
methods.
We wanted to escape from the responsibilities, right? Now, what we can do if you don't want to be of one kind, what we can do?
we can implement that method.
Yes or no? We just give this. Yes. And we
Yes,
can
sir.
also have a constructor, typically if you want. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now let's take one more. I forgot to tell in constructor. Java C. I compile this class. I have this. Now you see the default constructor is gone. There is a constructor with a single argument, and we do this. Field name, we are putting the field load. We are assigning the value. Then the talk method and the talk overloaded. Overloaded with version of the talk that takes single parameter. Yes or no? Nothing great. Yes. We have a field. We have a constructor with overloaded constructor with one parameter, one argument. We have two different methods, and it is not abstract. It is fine. The compiler will be happy. Why? Because it implements one interface that has got two methods, and both the methods are implemented. This is what I want some of you to talk, rather than keeping quiet or mum. In the interviews as well, this is what is expected from you. You need to be able to explain the code. Why, if it is working, also you should say why it is working. If it is not working, also you should say why it is not working. Satish, I think your voice has got. Can you please go on mute? I hear some. Yeah, thanks. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
keep quiet. Don't keep mum. Right? I only see only two people or three people talking: Bhaskar, Lakshmi, and Lasya. I always don't see why others keep quiet or keep mum. I don't know. So now, so what have we done now? Person talkable, we have added this. So I go to test person talkable.java. We call this method. Let's do this. Java C. Now I can compile this or no? Why? This gives an error. Why? It's a different error now. Can somebody tell me what has happened now and then? Earlier also I got an error. Now also I'm getting an error. What is the situation?
So in person talkable, we need to give the name of the person.
Okay. Earlier,
Yeah,
what was the
why-
error I got? Earlier I got an error. What was that error? Just a while before, when I tried to, yeah, it was abstract and it cannot be instantiated. Then what did we do? We removed the word abstract, and for it to be properly compilable, we gave an implementation of another method, which is non-implementer from interface. Then it is good enough to be declared as a non-abstract class, correct? Then now I'm trying to instantiate it. It gives an error. Why?
Yes, it is expecting a string type argument, but we
Parameter,
are not
and
giving.
we are not supplying it. Very good, right? And also this we have seen in the one of the earlier classes. Actual and formal argument lists differ in length. What is that? Your actual parameter takes one argument and you pass 0 argument. That means what?
So
That means what?
we need to pass the name, like arguments are
Correct.
doesn't match.
I give Amsi Gubala. Now, is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you look at it, what is the method is going for? It is instructing a constructor of person talkable with what version? Init. How many parameters is passing?
The string parameter.
Single
one
parameter what we passed, right? Now, what is the method? It is calling invoke virtual person talkable dot talk, then what? Person
Taking the
talkable
name
dot
of the
talk. Sorry. Talkable dot talk of what method? What version of it?
topic. The
Topic. Talkable dot talk with no parameters, guys. I don't know why. Does it take any parameter? No argument. Right?
no argument, sir.
I am calling the no argument talk without any argument. Correct? Now let me go here. Say assume not person talkable. Then test a person talkable. I would give one more now. What is that? I say
Topic to talk.
p1.talk on core Java. Now do you see this line in the source code calls the talk version with or without any parameters?
With no arguments.
With no parameters.
Subsequent line, you do have LDC load constant with what we pass as a literal string. And next statement calls what? Person talkable to talk with
With
a parameter, right? Now let me run this class. Make sense? Amsi Gubala, okay. I forgot to put a statement space here. Amsi Gubala is talking. Amsi Gubala is talking on the topic course. Make sense? Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So there is one more thing we have discussed about constructors, right? What is that we have seen? Constructor can take a different argument. What if I want to have a class, but I don't want it to be instantiated, right? I declare it as a constructor.
We can make
What is
private constructor.
Exactly. So what can I have now? Say public class. Let's say I say secret class. Just some name I give. And what do I do? Private secret class. Public static void main. I know this is a test class. Okay, we can do that as well. Secret class. Did I have secret class? Okay. We'll see a different flavor today. What is a different flavor? What is a different flavor we are seeing now?
We are declaring two classes in the same file.
Very good. That's correct. So I do private not private constructor demo. This is MV private. Okay, I can do that as a private constructor demo. That's a good one. Instead of this secret class, I would say so we have it. I would do. What decision do you get it? I have a class and made the constructor private, right? And
Yes.
if I try to, what does it call? Can you compile it? Wait, let's split this up. Just give me a minute. I would say private constructor demo. I would just call this as secret class.java. Now I need to declare it outside, right? I would call it as public here. Sorry for the confusion. I would delete this. I don't need this class. I've already declared it. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Whether the class gets compiled now? Actual class, does it get compiled?
Mm,
Yes.
Yes. And do you see anything here? When I do disassemble, what is my source code? What is my source code, sir? It's got
There
a
is
private constructor. And when I disassemble the class, whether the constructor is being thrown outside for a reference by a compiler,
No.
No.
it's private. That's all, right?
Yes.
So due to which, when you want to compile a class which tries to instantiate class with the private constructor, what does it say? It has got a private access in secret class and you cannot instantiate. This is how you can prevent a class from being instantiated. Make sense? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Then how do you ever get instantiated? How do you ever instantiate a class? Let's say I have a secret class.
We can extend the
Getter
That's
and
an
setter.
assignment.
to the other classes.
That's an assignment for the day today. Think over and come back to assignment.
Could you repeat the question,
What is that?
Ravan? It missed actually in
Yeah.
between.
How do you actually instantiate a class with a private constructor?
Okay. It's basically the singleton design pattern. What we
Wait,
discussed.
Dhananjay, hold on. Agree, that's fine. That's an assignment for the day. It's not an open question.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, my bad.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. No problem. All right. Makes sense, guys? Private we have declared, correct? And we are not able to instantiate it. How do we ever? Just think of it and let me know, right? Where we'll talk about that tomorrow. Make sense?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
one more topic we will see. Now, let's say, for example, we'll fill this class person with the behavior. So what do we say here? I declare this, assume, what do we have, sir? Talk, yes or no? Let's do this as well, no? Not person talkable. What is this class name? Yes. String name, public person with behaviors, string name. I have a constructor, insert name equal to name. I am assigning the variable argument what is passed that I get it to assign to my member variable. Let's say I have public void talk. What is this? Same method I have written there, right? They say public void. What if, okay, let's stop this. Now this is, let's see what is going to happen. What I have done now?
Sir, you did not implement the eatable interface methods.
Right. So my question is what I have done. That's right. Like, yeah, what I have done now. I've made a class that implements two interfaces and I just made it constructor, declared a variable and created a constructor that takes one argument and I implemented a partial implementation of that interface, right? Now what happened? Please pay attention to the message. Now this gives a different message. What is that?
It is not declared as abstract, or it is not implemented all the interface methods.
But it also gives you the clue.
Yes, sir.
Person behaviors is not abstract and does not override abstract method talk of string in talkable. What is that? The talkable interface has got two methods. One you already implemented, and it is giving you as a clue as a leftover. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And it doesn't even talk about eatable, it stopped there itself. What is my eatable? I do have a method. Now let's go.
So why it not given any error about eat method?
It should have, I'm surprised, it should have given that as well. Maybe the latest version of Java. As a compiler, it should have given. Good question, Lakshmi. Thank you, asked me. I am actually thinking on the same lines. I don't know why. It should have given both. It's 18 I have. Maybe is there anything they made it? I don't know. But ideally speaking, as a compiler, when we say it should have given that. I do have, let's see what is that. Eatable.class, both of them are compiled. Both of them at the same time. I do compile this. So this is the latest dot class. Java C-C person with the behaviors. Java. So it doesn't talk about behaviors, surprising. Maybe, I don't know whether they have made any changes. I'll take this as an assignment, right? Let me see. I do have the answers for the previous questions, what we have. I'll let you know and before we finish that. Why the Java compiler does not report an error about the unimplemented method of the other interface, but it stopped with the I'll take this up. Okay, let's go here. Person with the behaviors.java. Now, do you know that what I'm gonna do? What I'm gonna do?
Public void talk with one parameter.
Yes, we would add this. Okay.
Topic.
Beforehand, let's do one more thing. Sorry, I would introduce one more topic here. What is that when you try to compile? What do we get? We get a method that, hey, there is one interface method that you have not implemented. Is that clear? Initially, we had only one method called talk. Later, I added another method in the interface called talk with a subject, a topic, correct? And I did not implement it. Now, is there a struggle or not? In my class version had it with only one method initially. Now later I added to one more interface method. Let's assume this is what I'm making it. Just give me a minute. I'll make it. Say assume I don't have this now. All right. Will it compile now? Will the main class compile? Now it switches the error to eatable, correct? But with respect to talkable, does it compile or not?
Yes, sir, I did.
Because this is only one method, right? Now assume I go here and I add this method. The classes which were implementing my methods were already present. Person to talk on the given subject. I add this line and now you come back here and add it. Person talk on string topic. You follow me, right? What I'm doing? Now I compile this. Now if I do this, what happens? Does it break my existing class that implemented this interface or not? Does it break my existing class which was compiled fine? And now it doesn't get compiled. Does it break or not? Guys, is it confusing? Can somebody speak something?
Yes, sir. It is bit
Is the question
confusing.
clear? Question not clear? Okay. Let me tell you the fact. Let's go to what was my interface first. Wait a minute. All right. Let me delete this. What is this all about now? What is this now? An interface with single method, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, I also have a person talkable, right? Okay, let's take this itself. Just give me a minute. I'll delete this lines. Is it clear? I have a person talkable, implementing talkable, I give one method, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
No, it's clear.
No.
One interface, one method. I had my class that implemented that method so far. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Talkable, person talkable. Forget about the two, talkable 2, person talkable 2 right now. Talkable.java has got one interface, one method. Person talkable has got the method implemented. And it is properly compiling as well. Yes or no? Let me add this test person talkable also. Test person talkable 2.java. So let me make directory 2. So mv. All right. We have only this, right? Let me go here. Test person talkable.java. Let me remove this line because it doesn't present at all. Java C test person talkable. It compiled. Now you see. How many classes do I have? Is this setup okay? I have an interface called talkable with one method, correct? I have an implementation class that implements, I have a class that implements a talkable interface that gave an interface definition of that method as well. That's also compiled. I have a test class that is testing that class with the method. Yes. Now I do this test person talkable. It's a Vamsi Gubala is talking. Any questions on this? I'm just repeating by trimming off certain methods now because they want to introduce another concept. But that probably will close the call today. Can I have some response apart from Lakshmi? I don't know whether others are actively present in the class or they just simply turned on and looking at doing something else. Can I at least hear from others
Yes,
apart
sir,
from
we are
Lakshmi
here.
and Bhaskar, Dhananjay? Yeah.
Able to
Can
follow.
I hear from others? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
able
you.
to follow, Raghu.
Sure. Thanks, Rajati. So Vamsi, Yadavesh, Yarramsetti. See, there's no response at all. I don't know. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now what I am doing, so far the interface had got one method and we had the implementation class giving an implementation of that method and the test class all looked fine, all looked great. Now if I make a change here, that's what I'm gonna do now, right? What I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna, okay, give me a minute. Let me take this. I'll make it as 1 CD1. Sorry. MV start talkable, not MV, sorry. 2. Okay. So we have 1 with all, 2 with only 2, talkable 2. Now I do talkable2.java here as talkable.java. Let's look at it. What had happened to talkable.java? I am in the same directory. Now 1 not 2. 1 and 2 are my backup references, right? In the same directory I have. What is the change I brought in? What is the change that I have brought in?
So we are back with an interface with two talk methods, method overloading.
Correct. I've introduced one more method in the interface, right? Now, let me delete my star class, right? What do I have? Sorry, I've deleted all the classes. That's fine. What do I have now? .java, right? Now I try to compile %talkable. What happened?
It is asking to implement the second method.
Implement all the methods.
Gives an error. Is it breaking or not? That was the same question I asked it. The new method that we added in the interface is breaking the existing classes which were already implementing the other methods, previous methods or not?
Yes, sir. It's
Yes,
breaking.
basically,
Obviously.
it's not a backward
Because-
compatible kind of thing.
Correct. Because an interface as a method and a class by default legally should implement all the methods until otherwise dash. Until otherwise
Until otherwise, it should be
Declared as
declared as abstract.
It is an abstract.
it is declared as an abstract. Wonderful. Are we clear on this?
Yes.
Now, what
Yes.
choices do I have? If I want the class %talkable to be compiled, what choices do I have?
Either we need to implement it or should be declared as abstract.
Right.
If we
What is an
declare as
interface? Interface helps us to define the behaviors. An interface or a behavior can be attached to a class by using implements. Yeah. Let me fill this summary later. Yes. Yes, Lakshmi, please carry on. Can implement more than one interface where each of them are separated by a comma, right? Now, what if an interface has a new method, or what if a new method gets added to an interface? What is the issue?
It will break the existing system.
Yes, it will break the existing system. In what way? Where the classes
Must
implementing the
implement the-
interface should now provide a definition, or in simple word, implement the newly added interface method as with the default rule that a class should implement all the methods of an interface. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, what are the probable solutions we have?
either use abstract keyword or
simplest
implement
is we
all the
can
methods.
provide the
One is declare the
implementation.
class as an abstract. With which it can escape the rule followed by the compiler. Yes or no? What is the other method? Other option?
Implemented the unimplemented methods.
All right. Now, which one do you think it is easy? Or what is the pros and cons? If I declare the class an abstract, what will happen?
We need to create another class which will extend the abstract class. Then only the object will be possible. Otherwise, it's not possible.
No, declaring the class as an abstract, what will happen? It will break the instantiation if there is any. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So in test classes, it will break. Why? An abstract class?
Cannot be instantiated.
Cannot be
Cannot be instantiated.
Because it's abstract. It can't take a shape. Just a person. Can we have an object called a blind person? Or we can have an object called Raghavan, Rajati, Lasya, Lakshmi, Bhaskar. Which one do you think it makes sense? It's sensible.
the
latter one.
You get it, right? An abstract class is just abstract. It doesn't have anything specific, right? So you can't do that. What about the provided implementation? But there's one caveat. If the class has not got any instantiation done, then you are good to go, right? Correct?
Yes, sir. To satisfy the compiler only.
Yes. We are good. But we have a locking, but we will never be able to as well, right? In future. Yes or no? Because we are locking that as an abstract. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The other thing is provide an implementation of the newly added unimplemented. That's relatively easy, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But what if it is not of your interest? Child issue. What if the newly added method of an interface is not of your interest? Let's say talkable.java, right, has a new method name talk. Let's say, for example, bad words. Just for an example, I'm saying it's also a talk, right? Scolding is also a talking. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Just for an example, I'm giving. So you don't want to have an implementation, something. I hope the example gets fit, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want to have this implemented. Why? Because
I don't talk bad things.
you are a good person and you don't want to use or talk bad words. It's as simple as that, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Next,
Okay.
what if there are more than one such methods added in the interface? What if there is a new method added in more than one interface? You get the difference between these two?
Yes, sir.
Example, I add one new method in both talkable and eatable interfaces. You get the challenge, right? Here, example, talkable interface has got talk bad word and let's say scold, something like that. Just for the example and meaning, right? You get it? These are all the child issues. Do you understand?
Yes.
What is the problem that we're talking
sir.
about?
Yes, sir.
There is an interface and there are classes that provided an implementation of that interface and the system was running smooth. Now you are in a situation to add some new methods to the interface, but there are challenges that the existing system will be broken. Until otherwise, they are forced to do these patch up works. Ultimately, what is the net result? Somebody said that's a very good word. What is the net result? The new methods added in the interface is not, somebody said that word.
Backward compatibility.
Very good word. Yeah, very good mentioning of that word. What do you mean by backward compatible? Any new change that you bring it, that is the underlying principle of Java. Any probably a higher version of the class that compiled in a higher version of a compiler will run in lower version, right? A lower version cannot run in higher version, but higher version can run in lower version. Backward compatibility. And any new change that you are bringing into the system, you need to ensure that the existing people should not be disturbed. Whether or not they like it, if they like it, they can use it. If they don't like it, it is all right. They will still be able to run the flow, show without any disturbance. Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now
Yes,
we
sir.
all know that there is a problem, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
And when did this occur? This is what is a potential problem that occurred. And from Java 8, there is a solution. We solve this by using
Functional
something
interface.
called
Default method.
default methods. What is that?
Default method.
Default method.
You now should.
One input here before Java, we also having this kind of issue when we are writing the code. So what
Correct.
process we follow? Like we have an interface, then have a abstract, and then create a class.
Yeah, that's also the
This
good
is what
thing.
we
Yeah, abstract.
this is how we are solving this issue.
Correct, Dhananjay. Thank you. That's what we have already declared, Dhananjay. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pros and cons. What are the solutions? Probable solutions we declare. Obviously, either you do this or you do. Correct.
Now here
Thank you for.
here we are discussing like we convert existing class to abstract, but by
Correct.
design itself from day one only we will take abstract in between so that it will.
Because you foresee that there could be some change. That's a good. I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Interface, abstract class, and even your actual class will be a subclass of an abstract class.
Yes.
To do that. So
Yeah.
there is a base class that implements interface, but the base class is an abstract class. And your magic starts with the subclass of an abstract class.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
That's what
that
we are
makes
solving.
sense.
Yeah.
Correct. That makes sense. Good thing, Dhananjay. Probably we can add this as a why not? That's a good suggestion. Or declare an abstract base class that implements the interface and let your child class, let your business class be the subclass of the abstract class.
Yes.
This will potentially solve the problem. But you need to change the references until if you have done it on the first step, day one, there is some trouble. Right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Makes sense, guys. Default methods, when do you come? Why do we talk? All of you? As
Yes,
usual,
sir.
dead silence. Okay. Now I go here. Instead of talkable, I say talkable default. All right. What do? I just add. This is abstract. You understand, right? What is that?
Yeah. By default, all the methods in interface is abstract.
By default. What do? We don't do this now. Instead, my Mac battery is about to die. I comment this, making it as default from Java 8. We just add an access specifier called default. And what else you should do?
Provide the implementation here.
And add an implementation. What do you do that? System.println. Guys, please pay attention. No, not bad word. Topic itself you take. Oh,
Okay.
topic itself, right?
Okay.
There is no word and all here, right? Topic being spoken is topic. That's it. You understand, guys, what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
We have an interface method added, but not letting it as an abstract, like no body, no definition. We give a definition and make it default. That means what? There are 5 classes and all of them are implementing this interface. We assume that nobody may have an interest. So we add a method, but make it default and give an implementation. This means if no class is interested in providing an implementation of their own of this method, this will be considered. What if somebody wants?
So
What
in
if
that
somebody
case,
wants to?
if we declare a method with default, there is no issue with the compiler, sir. If we can't
Correct.
implement the method.
So let me do this now. Talk about Java. Did it compile? Sorry, my
Compile.
bad. I should have compiled to what? Talk about default method, right? Okay. Sorry. What should I do now? Default method. All right. That is compiled.
Yes.
Now, do you see here? Abstract void talk, default void talk, and gives implementation. Makes sense? Now, what is my class? Person talkable, right? Yes or no? It gave me that does not abstract, it doesn't implement talkable. We have a problem now, correct? Now, what do I gonna do? Instead of this, what I'm gonna do? Implements?
Talkable default.
Exactly. Talkable default method. Now, person talkable.java. Did it compile? Yes or no?
Yes.
You understand? Why? It is happy with, see, you see that it has got the talk method. Okay, talkable, not talkable. Person talkable. Talk, it has taken person talkable constructor. It doesn't bother about the other method, but it knows for sure that there is an implementation available in this interface. Interface itself has got a body. It is one of the features introduced in interface, Java 8. An interface method can, I'll tell you why this was introduced as well, Lakshmi, as you said, due to the introduction of functional programming, single abstract method and streams, etc., was introduced. Java 8 was a very major revolutionary change was introduced in Java 8, where we made it functional programming. We had to add a lot of changes in the collection interface, basically collection interface and collection classes. Let's take a look at list, right? And we had to give to array, there is a stream method. Where is that? Abstract list. Collection, okay. I think I trouble.stream, where do you have? Okay. There is a stream method. Okay, this is not what. Yeah, here it is. Do you see that? All the methods has a stream. Do you see that? There is a stream method which is newly added because we had a concept called a stream. And none of the classes in Java 7 up to Java 7 had known about something called a stream. What if we don't have a way to make it default? What could have happened?
All the IT industry, Java industry will collapse.
Entire, that's a very good word. Entire industry will collapse because Java runs more than 3 billion or 10 billion, I don't know, number of devices running on Java. anything and everything almost. Look at it. When they upgrade the version runtime environment from Java 7 to 8, the system will break. They didn't want to do it. Stream is a very important concept because it was introduced by default. They wanted to make this. They had to be introduced. They introduced something called a default method with an implementation. Make sense, guys? This is the fundamental reason why default method. What is a default method? Why this was introduced in Java 8? Because of this reason. Primarily, this was a major trendsetter or game changer. I don't have the image because unfortunately Sketchwab is not getting open. I'll show you tomorrow. I made a very beautiful diagram that took me 2 days to draw the complete version history of Java. 1 to 17, I think now 21, 17 or 19, I drew it. Unfortunately, it's not. You have seen it, right? I would have showed you. Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
So Java 8 was introduced. This was the reason.
Battery check, Raghavan.
Yes, it's almost about to die. I have 5 minutes, right? Any questions? I think almost we are done with the time as well. Probably I'll continue with that later, right? So is it clear? Interface default methods,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Right. Any questions?
Sir,
No.
we are about to discuss like a database today, right, sir? Tomorrow we will.
I know because I came in here. Tomorrow we'll start. Probably I wanted to talk about the Git as well. Maybe tomorrow we'll try to have a little longer time. Probably I will take break as well. Can we start at 7 p.m.? Is it fine, Lakshmi?
Yes, sir.
Then we'll take a break of half an hour, something in between. Then we'll have subsequent class. If that helps everybody. All of us are okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Thank you. Rajati, how do you feel that the class is okay?
Yeah.
If you're still there.
Yeah. I'm okay with the session. I'm able to follow.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right, guys.
No one asked this question, like what happened if you two classes will give the definition, like why Java is not supporting extending of 2 classes. Basically the diamond problem. I was expecting some question, but yeah.
That will take a look. Yeah. That's because of C++ classic diamond problem.
Yeah.
Classes, which parental version you go there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be sharing this as well. When we create a GitHub, I'll share it with you. You will be able to pull out with the GitHub also. We'll see tomorrow and database also. Okay. This is something pretty base concept. Somehow I think we started the continuation of that previous class and we went in there. Okay, guys. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Take care. Sure.
Thank
We'll
you.
catch up tomorrow, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, sir.